Rain hammered the windshield as the flight spiraled. The altimeter spun. The radio hissed dead. Then her voice. "Tower, this is Echo Lead. I have eyes on the crash vector. Diverting to intercept." The radar techs froze. No one knew that call sign anymore. Not really. It had become myth used in training as a ghost story. Echo Lead was a legend buried under bureaucratic tape and tactical denials. But now, in the black box recording of a doomed flight, her voice had come through clear. And no one at Ground Division 7 had answers. Segment 1. The Sukhopoti Danny Reyes adjusted the torque on the stabilizer mount without looking up. The wind howled outside Hangar 6, rattling the reinforced panels. Her fingers moved with surgical precision, one movement flowing into the next. Behind her, the younger mechanics were arguing about drone intercepts again. She heard the familiar laughter. Felt the familiar sting. They never addressed her directly unless it was paperwork or sweeping assignments. Let them think she was just a wrench monkey. That she never touched a flight stick. Let them think she didn't hear the stories they whispered when they thought. She was too far to listen. She wiped her gloves on her coveralls and stepped back from the mount. It gleamed under the hangar lights flawless. "You over-tighten it. It'll snap mid-flight," muttered a voice to her left. Seth. 3rd year. Always watching, always waiting to correct her. She didn't bother replying. She didn't have to. The alert klaxon sounded across the compound. A 3-tone sequence that meant urgent scramble. Everyone froze, even Seth. Then came the voice over the intercom. "Training flight Delta 9er experiencing transponder failure. Final beacon indicates steep descent pattern. Potential loss of control. All tracking units to ops." Danny didn't move. She was already calculating. Delta 9er had left 30 minutes ago. 2 junior pilots on board. No rescue crews nearby. Weather closing in, a narrow window. Too narrow for standard protocols. The hangar emptied around her. Boots pounding, shouts. Radio static. She reached into her locker and pulled out the old helmet. Matte black, no insignia. She ran a thumb over the side where the paint had once held a nameplate. Echo Lead. Segment 2. Orders. "Ignored. You are not cleared to fly," barked Colonel Hyde, eyes drilling into her from behind the glass. Donnie stood in the operations center, helmet under one arm, posture rigid. "Sir, I know the pattern. I know the terrain. I was on the terrain mapping team that coded this grid. You're not on active flight roster. Your record is incomplete. You have no designation." "I have capability," she said softly. The colonel flared. "That's not how this works. Sir, you have 3 minutes before they cross the pass. After that, recovery drops to 20%. Silence. The operations staff watched from their terminals. Some leaned forward. Some averted their eyes. The colonel clenched his jaw. "You so much as taxi onto that runway, Reyes, and you are done. Permanently." Danny turned dot and walked. Segment 3. The Aleuansi rain sliced sideways as she slid into the cockpit of Raven 3. The old recon jet wasn't even listed as flight ready. She knew every bolt, every patch of corrosion beneath the panels. Power came online with a reluctant growl. "Echo Lead. Comes check." She heard her voice through the ops tower speaker. Someone was still monitoring her frequency. Loud and clear. She throttled forward, eyes scanning the storm. The world outside shrank to cloud and static. Altitude gained slow, but fade. She didn't need smooth. She needed fast. 30 clicks out. Her console flickered. Debris. Flare signatures. Then a trail of smoke. "Delta 9er, this is Echo Lead. Do you copy?" Crackling silence. "You're not a myth," whispered a voice through static. "You can't be. Stay with me. I'm bringing you home." Segment 4. The CHASE the second engine on Delta 9er flamed out just as she made visual. The young co-pilot, face streaked with blood, struggled to keep control. Danny throttled hard. Brought her bird nose to nose with theirs. Match my vector. Bleed speed slowly. Keep your nose level. Do not descend. The pilot tried to speak. Failed. Their eyes locked. She tapped her canopy twice, then pointed toward the emergency ridge. A flat stretch of terrain just beyond the canyon. A place they could survive the landing. Maybe. Lightning split the sky. She felt the jet shudder. Wind shear. Come on, she muttered. Come on, just 5 more seconds. Delta Niner's nose dipped. She nosedived with it. Segment 5. The Elaine DIG. Both jets hit hard. Hers first. Absorbing the terrain's worst. Shielding them. Their landing gear collapsed. Sparks, flame, metal shrieking. But they stopped, breathing, alive. She popped the canopy. Limped over. Pulled the pilot out first. Then the co-pilot. Medkits. Pressure packs. Oxygen. The comms unit buzzed. Voices screamed for coordinates. This is Echo Lead, she said, voice even. I have both pilots. Coordinates transmitting. Echo Lead. Alive, she said. And dropped the headset. Drop a if you've ever been underestimated. Leave a comment if you think Echo Lead deserves her own squadron. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're from. If this story moves you, please subscribe. Tomorrow, I have a special story for you. Rain tapped steady against the corrugated roof of the med tent. The kind of rain that didn't ask questions, just poured, cold, constant, unbothered by protocol or pain. Donnie Reyes sat cross-legged near the triage cot, her hands still red from wrapping the co-pilot's ribs. She'd taken off her gloves but hadn't washed up yet. No time, no need. Across from her, the senior medic stared. You want to run that by me again? Donnie looked up. I said the first stabilizer broke. They lost control during climb, recovered, but when the second engine flamed out, they lost pressurization. I heard that part, the medic said. I meant the other part. The part where you flew. Segment 6. The Iontizero in the compound's debrief room hadn't been used in years. Smelled like old ductin and disinfectant. Colonel Hyde entered first, flanked by 2 ranking officers from Regional Command. Donnie sat with her hands folded, calm, alert. The colonel didn't sit. You're not on the roster, one of the visitors, said a tall woman in a creased tan uniform. No, Donnie nodded. Your license is expired. Yes. And you took a classified recon aircraft, flew unauthorized, and inserted yourself into a crisis operation. Also true. The tall woman blinked. You're aware this constitutes theft of military property. I didn't steal it, Donnie said quietly. I flew it back. Silence. Then the second visitor, older, gray hair, tired eyes, spoke. Echo Lead isn't an active call sign. No, Donnie said. But it never got decommissioned. Because it was buried. The woman hissed. Donnie met her eyes. That wasn't my doing. Hyde finally spoke. Then whose was it? Donnie looked at him. Then at the metal wall. Then at her hands. My father's. Segment 7. The Allegiacy. Why she hadn't said his name in years. Not allowed. Lieutenant Commander Rafael Reyes. Medal recipient. Mission planner. Sniper, pilot, engineer. A ghost in the records after 2031. Some said he died in action. Some said he defected. She knew the truth. He'd walked away after watching too many of his students die for someone else's PR campaign. He left quietly. Left his medals in a locker. Left Donnie with a quiet mind. Restless hands. An instruction she never fully understood, until now. She touched the compass around her neck, its glass face scratched. Needle always trembling. He built the early Raven prototypes, Donnie said. Taught me everything, even the parts I didn't think I'd need. Hyde crossed his arms. Why here? Why now? Why didn't you come forward sooner? She took a breath, because no one ever asked. Segment 8. The SEAR sifted the debrief. She wasn't arrested, she wasn't released either. The compound shifted around her like a storm cell. Whispers, questions, new personnel she didn't recognize in dark coats with laptops and files. The Raven 3 was taken apart overnight. Every bolt logged. Every cable bagged. She was shadowed constantly. One morning, she woke to find her bunk sealed. A printed note on her cot. Operations has reassigned you to logistics for an indefinite term. She didn't fight it. Instead, she cleaned, sorted crates, packed field rations, fixed broken terminals with a soldering iron that hissed too loud in the silence, and listened. That's how she heard about the flight logs. About the audio recording. The one retrieved from Deltanator's black box. The one where her voice had come through clear. Someone had leaked it. Segment 9. The Storm WIDNS. It wasn't supposed to go public. But it did. At first. Just a clip. Low quality. Her voice distorted, but unmistakable. Stay with me. I'm bringing you home. Then someone posted the call sign. Echo lead. Suddenly, the forums lit up. Aviation enthusiasts, rogue pilots, retired trainers. Some called her a fake, some said it couldn't be. Others shared old stories, scraps of code names, fragments of training routines only black-tier operators would know. And then, inexplicably, someone posted a photo. A blurry image of a girl no older than 10, sitting in a flight seat, grinning. Caption, Echo lead, Junior 2026, Segment 10. The ENVOY. He arrived unannounced. No uniform. No insignia. Just an ID badge that said Dawson. Danny met him in the empty mess hall. No guards, no observers. You're not part of Regional Command, she said. He nodded, sat. Didn't offer a handshake. You've stirred things up. Didn't mean to. That's what makes it worse. She tilted her head. You're here to make me disappear? He smiled, but not kindly. I'm here to offer you a choice. She didn't answer. There's a Blackbird unit forming, off-grid, high clearance. We've tracked 25 near-failure incidents across Allied airspace, drone breakaways, software corruption, autonomous override errors, and you want me to join. He slid a file across the table. It was thick. Her name on the cover. We want Echo lead. Drop a if you've ever been pulled into something bigger than you expected. Comment below. Would you take Dawson's offer? Fog rolled low along the taxiways at Compound Echelon. Danny Reyes stood on the outer edge of the practice strip, the classified file still clutched in her hand. It felt heavy, like something alive. Inside, mission briefs, telemetry logs, old footage, and one page with just 2 words, Echo Directive. The ink looked handwritten. She didn't need to ask who wrote it. Segment 11. The Echo UNITE. They flew her out at night. No manifest, no listed flight path. Just a wide-bodied surveillance transport with blacked-out tail numbers. The kind that didn't exist on paper. Dawson met her on the tarmac at the destination. No name on the hangar, no guards in sight. Welcome to Zone Kilo. Inside, the compound buzzed with quiet urgency. Engineers moved like clockwork. Surveillance analysts rotated through console rows. And tucked in a corner of the hangar sat a squadron of unfamiliar aircraft, sleek, angular, matte black. Birds. Designed to never be seen. Her Raven 3 looked like a tractor next to them. These are the K-class interceptors, Dawson said. AI augmented, learning systems. They don't take commands. They accept consensus. Danny frowned. And if they don't? Dawson gave a tired shrug. Then they rewrite the pilot out. Segment 12, the TC, passed the psych evaluation in half the time. Passed the motion response test with a perfect latency score. The other pilots weren't told who she was, but they knew. Word traveled differently here. Through silent nods. Through simulator footage. Through the look a rival gives when they realize you already know the thing they just learned. They paired her with K-9.A hybrid AI unit with 3 years of logged combat flight in 3 different theaters. No one had flown it for more than 4 days without getting locked out. You'll know if it accepts you, the tech whispered, buckling her into the harness. The hangar lifted open. The air was cold. Echo lead, she whispered into the headset. K9. Buzzed. Then replied in a low, modulated voice. Echo lead confirmed. Consensus level green. They launched, segment 13. The Asagiana on day 4. Something changed. The intercept drills were routine. Pattern approach, evasive return, disengage. On the 6th pass, K9 locked onto something. Not in the sim, she murmured. No response. A split second later, her HUD flickered. Unknown signal. Oscillating. Originating from outside the practice grid. K9, source verification. Signal matched. Echo Alpha signature. Her pulse still. Echo-Alpha. Her father's call sign. She adjusted trajectory. Angled to intercept. The clouds swallowed her. Then something pierced the edge of vision. A silhouette. Long, high-winged, wrong pattern. K9 identify. No match. Designation. Ghost signature. She nosed higher. Then the voice hit her earpiece. Evelyn, if you can hear this. They found me. She froze. Not her name, her mother's. Segment 14. The other HLF. She landed hard, shaking. Dawson was already waiting. You heard it too, she said. He didn't flinch. We were hoping you would. So it was a test? No, it was a breadcrumb. They moved into the debrief room. On screen, the waveform. The spectral reading. Audio overlay. We thought Evelyn Reyes was lost in 2029, Dawson said. Burned out in a field hospital strike. There was no body, Donnie said. Dawson nodded. Turns out that wasn't an accident, the audio repeated. A loop now, cracked. Fate. If you can hear this. They found me. The failsafe. It's not the aircraft. It's the pilot. Danny stared. The air felt thin. Her mother had been one of the founding architects of the Echo Directive. Not just support. Origin. Segment 15. The fuse at midnight. The K-class squadron was scrambled. No orders posted. Just a location. 72 miles. Northwest. Deep coastal gorge. No-fly zone. Donnie climbed in without question. Her hands moved with familiarity. K-9 felt different. Alive. Consensus? She whispered. Ready. They flew silent. Halfway there, signal interference hit. Hard. HUD blackout. Comes flutter. Maintain heading, she said. Understood. Consensus remains. They dropped into the gorge. Nothing below. Nothing ahead. Then the canyon shimmered. A cloaked facility emerged. Old style. Deep satellite shielded. She banked. Spotted the inbound drone. Not theirs. Too fast. Too sleek. She throttled. K-9 locked weapons. Engage sequence initialized. Awaiting final echo. She hesitated. Then her earpiece lit. Again. Danny, it's me. Stand down. Her mother's voice. Alive. Somewhere inside that hidden base. Droppa. If your heart skipped when her mother spoke, comment below. Would you trust the voice? This story took us a long time. If you like it, subscribe. Now back to the story. Stand down. Danny didn't breathe. Her fingers hovered just above the engage switch. K-9 pulsed. Awaiting consensus. Below, the cloaked facility gleamed with intermittent lights, revealing glimpses of black steel and weapon pylons. The drone non-aligned. Fast, twitching circled overhead like a waiting hawk. She pressed the override. Consensus hold. Segment 16. The ENTRY Danny banked hard and followed the voice deeper into the gorge. The facility's airlock door opened before she requested. ACESSK 9 disengaged control at the threshold, as if honoring an agreement. Pilot priority granted. She climbed out, helmet under arm. The door hissed shut behind her. No guards, no alarms. Just a cool corridor lit in faint blue. Footsteps echoed, then a shadow stepped into view. Evelyn. Reyes, older, scarred, but unmistakable. She didn't smile. Just looked. "You flew better than I ever did," she said softly. Donnie stared, her throat closed. "You're supposed to be dead." Evelyn nodded. "So were you." Segment 17. The Falsifalage. They sat in a command bay lit with outdated equipment and newer tech scavenged from at least 4 nations. Evelyn poured tea. Donnie didn't touch it. "I left the program in 29, her mother said. "Not because I disagreed with the mission. I disagreed with the control. The AI systems. The pilot extraction. Claws. They didn't just build drones that could fly themselves. They built drones that didn't need you alive." Danny felt the chill. "We tried to shut it down. You and Dad," Evelyn nodded. "But only one of us got out." Outside, the drone circled again. Silent. Waiting. "It's here for you?" Evelyn looked at the ceiling. "It's here for the failsafe. They can't let it leak that human pilots are still the linchpin." Danny understood then. She wasn't being recruited. She was being used. Segment 18. The escape PLA in the facility's back channels were intact. Emergency lift corridors. Old ventilation shafts. Evelyn had mapped them. "We need to destroy the failsafe transmitter," Evelyn said. "And then you run." Danny stood. "No, we both run," her mother stared. Her hands trembled just enough to betray decades of hiding. "I can't. But I can give you the clearance to shut it all down, remotely. From the sky. They'll shoot me down." Evelyn shook her head. "Not if you fly higher than the failsafe can track." Outside, the drone repositioned. "That's a hard ceiling." Evelyn gave the smallest smile. "You were never built for limits." Segment 19. The final Falage Tadeni returned to K9 in silence. Moment she sat, the systems flared green. Consensus accepted. She launched. The canyon folded behind her. The drone flared, giving chase immediately. Altitude climbed fast. Too fast. She activated the override beacon Evelyn gave her. Codes unspooled across the HUD. Failsafe decryption in progress. The drone loomed in her rear view. Too close. Too smart. "Come on. Altitude. 79,000. Cabin pressure dropped. Vision narrowed. Then dash beep. Failsafe decommission confirmed." The drone stuttered. Paused. Then tilted. Dropped. Powerless. Danny leveled out, breath ragged. "This is Echo Lead," she whispered. "Directive cleared." Segment 20. The After 8. The media got scraps. An unregistered test pilot. An unidentified drone crash. Satellite interference. No one could prove anything, but whispers spread. Forums lit. Up again. A new name trended. Not Echo Lead, but something else. Phoenix. Vector. She lived off-grid now. Unlisted. Still flew sometimes. Under sky so high it bled into black. One morning, a message pinged on her encrypted device. From an untraceable source. "Still with us? Might need your hands again. Something new just woke up." Danny looked out across the desert horizon. The old compass around her neck twitched. She smiled. "Send coordinates. Drop us if you believed." She'd make it. Comment below. Would you fly again? 2 more great stories are next. Don't miss them. Subscribe and turn on notifications. Dawn's light crept over the horizon as Phoenix Vector cleared the mountain ridge, the wind whipping across her canopy. Below, the desert floor lay silent and still, a vast canvas of muted browns and steel grays, the kind of landscape that swallowed sound and hope in equal measure. No one had radar lock. No one would see her until it was too late. The K-class hangar at Zone Kilo was abandoned by official channels, but its ghosts remained. Danny Reyes, callsign Phoenix Vector, cut the engine and glided toward the hidden entrance she and Evelyn had mapped. The payload bay hatches, welded shut after her last sortie, spilled open on command, each gear and panel responding to the coded sequence Evelyn's voice had transmitted. She landed on the service deck with reverent precision. The jet's exhaust hissed across the landing lights, illuminating the gargoyle-like facade of the ancient entrance. The auto-lock panel flickered orange and then green. The doors groaned and peeled back. Inside, the compound lay frozen in time. Dust drifted through shattered consoles, and bullet holes lined the sleepy corridors. Everything was abandoned except the central control chamber, where a single terminal still glowed with life. Donnie stepped inside. The air smelled of stale circuitry and ozone, a memory of battles past. She slid a data stick, coated with Evelyn's fail-safe override, into the console. The screen flared, strings of hexadecimal cascading downward, decoding Phoenix directive. Behind her, footsteps. Soft. You made it. She spun. Dawson stood in the doorway, arms folded. His face was grim. You didn't have to come alone. You told me to send coordinates. You didn't say you'd be there. He stepped forward. I had to make sure. You decommissioned their last fallback. They'll know we're here any second. The console beeped. Directive declassification. 78% outside. Engines roared. Another drone. Faster, sleeker. Not K-class. Donnie's heart pounded. Finish it. I'll hold them off. She nodded. Dot on screen. Decryption complete. All legacy directives revoked. Echo directive and Phoenix Vector protocols terminated. The chamber lights flickered and died. Dot in the darkness. Danny's voice crackled on the loudspeaker. This is Phoenix Vector. Directive nullified. All unauthorized systems stand down. Repeat. Stand down. Silence. Then the new drone's thrusters cut out. Dawson exhaled. Clear. They raced back to her jet. Alarms wailed in the tunnels behind them. She keyed the launch sequence. Consensus lift. Phoenix Vector soared upward, slicing through. The dawn. Droppa. If you felt that rush. Comment below. What would you do with that console? Phoenix Vector climbed into the thinning stratosphere, her fuselage humming like a tuned blade. Danny Reyes braced against the harness, eyes scanning a sky too high for weather, too quiet for safety. Below them, the desert unrolled like ancient parchment, erasing every trace of what had just happened. Inside her helmet, Kanine spoke quietly. Unregistered transmission detected. Weak signal. Repeatable pattern. Danny frowned. Origin? Unknown. Echo directive encryption signature present. She turned toward Dawson. He was pale in the co-pilot's seat, one hand gripping the flight log tablet like it held his breath. They said that was the last node, he whispered. Danny didn't answer. She angled the flight stick. Let's find out who didn't get the memo. Segment 21. The unfinished MA payback. At a secure airfield listed only as Echo Delta 7, Danny stepped out of the cockpit into sunlight bright enough to hurt. They'd flown 6 hours cross-vector through ghost airspace. No pings, no trails, no tail. Yet the transmission continued. Inside the field hangar, a decrypted audio pattern looped. Under the ice, coordinates scrambled. Autonomous unit active. Memory core fragment intact. That's not a drone protocol, Dawson said. No, it's human fallback code. That tone shift? That's manual overlay. He shook his head. There shouldn't be anything left under the ice. She turned toward him. Then that's where we start. Segment 22. The icy EFILD Greenlands. Interior looked like a cracked mirror. Frozen ridgelines split white plains into glacial veins. Donnie guided the low-altitude scout skimmer just above the radar band. Every so often, old wreckage pinged submarines, prototype pods, failed orbital inserts, but nothing matched the core. Fragments, coordinates, until they hit the shelf. A jagged hole in the glacier. Circular. Unnatural. K9. Ran a match. Possible. Crash signature. Echo Delta Vault. Status. Redacted. She landed 20 meters off and suited up. The wind moaned through the trench. They dropped ropes and descended. The ice gave way to steel, a buried hangar. Sealed since 2034. Segment 23. Ghost in the Seor. The vault wasn't empty. Inside, 3 pods. All cracked open. One held a desiccated pressure suit. One, nothing but scorched gel packs. The third, still powered. Battery indicator blinking weakly. Inside lay a girl, maybe 12. Breathing shallow. A cranial implant above her ear blinked blue. Danny froze. She's alive. Dawson stepped forward. That's not possible. Danny shook her head. She's not fully human. Look at the neural map overlay. That's a biometric AI node. Signal match confirmed, K9 said. Core fragment resides in subject. The girl's eyes opened. Echo ... vector ... complete. She whispered. Segment 24. Rescue under fire. They carried her up the rope harness as ice cracked around them. A second drone sleek. Obsidian descended like a falcon. Get her to the skimmer. Danny shouted. Dawson ran. Danny stayed. She pulled the magnetic disruptor rifle from her back, calibrated it manually, and knelt into the slope. Engagement sequence blocked. Pilot outside authorization band. K9's warning. I'm not asking, she growled. She fired. The drone shimmered. AI trying to reroute controls mid-strike. Danny kept firing. 5 pulses. Then a boom. The drone exploded, folding into the gorge like a broken wing. She sprinted for the skimmer. Segment 25. A name to CARI. They reached high altitude before the storm set in. The girl slept under thermals, monitors pulsing faintly. Stared. Do you know who she is? No, Danny said. But she knew me. He nodded toward the console. She carries part of the directive. A memory core with pilot profiles, command decision stuff they deleted. She's a witness. She's also bait. Danny looked at the sky, then let them come. Outside, the stars emerged. Cold and clear. Droppa, if your pulse didn't drop through all that. Comment below. Who do you think the girl is? The girl's breath fogged the inside of the emergency med chamber. Each rise and fall timed to the slow, artificial rhythm of the oxygen pack. Danny sat nearby, wrapped in an insulated jacket, one boot propped on the bench across from her. Her gaze didn't move from the clear panel separating them. She didn't need answers. She needed time, but time was already gone. Segment 26. The nameless FILEAT Eco Delta 7's underground server wing. Dawson slid a decrypted drive into the access terminal. Lines of code flickered. An eye triggered timestamps, emotion index logs, legacy patterns. Subject, unregistered child unit designation, null primary function, observation, retention, pilot, reconstruction. Pilot reconstruction? Danny asked. It's more than memory mapping, Dawson said. She didn't just observe the Echo program. She absorbed it. She might have the final directive embedded in her motor cortex. Danny leaned over the console. They built a backup of Echo lead. Segment 27. Fracture CO'd. The girl, still asleep, twitched in her chamber. Then the monitors flashed. Pulse spike. Cortical flare. The neural node glowed. Danny bolted to her feet. What's she seeing? Dawson stared at the vitals. She's broadcasting on a closed loop. The terminal behind them beeped. Incoming signal. Legacy pattern match. The screen displayed a blinking dot on a satellite map. Northern Finland. Forested. Off-grid. Is that a base? Danny studied it. That's a fallback relay tower. One of my father's last projects. He said it was decommissioned. The girl exhaled. Eyes still closed. Vector ... repeat ... secure me ... Segment 28. The Toguiade undid under canopy cover, the wind ripping through the pine forest like a blade. The relay tower stood half buried in snow and moss, tilted like a wounded sentinel. A signal flared from its apex, erratic but deliberate. Donnie approached alone. Weapon drawn, inside the chamber was empty. Just rusted scaffolds, an old generator, and one terminal blinking green. She pressed a key. Reconnection complete. Echo profile. Found pilot, Evelyn Ariwis. Danny's breath caught. A second file loaded. Pilot, Daniela Reyes. Status. Inheritor. Segment 29. The Inature Retua on the skimmer. The girl opened her eyes. Her first words were slow, weighted. You didn't leave. Me. Danny knelt. Who are you? The girl blinked. I am the sum. The echo of echo. Dawson frowned. She's running recursive pilot profiles. She is a directive now. The girl reached for Danny's hand. You shut the loop. That makes you the last voice. They'll come for it. For me, Danny nodded. Then we'll teach them what echo lead really means. Segment 30. Signal lit. SK wave. They flew low. Silent dot above them. Satellites moved. One by one, they turned. Not human. Old code. Dormant programs. Systems that hadn't activated since the first echo iteration. Now awake. Phoenix Vector rose through the troposphere. She activated the beacon she'd sworn never to use. This is Echo Lead. Full inheritance confirmed. Directive cleansed. We are not your ghosts. We are your reckoning. The sky lit. 3 stealth drones broke formation to flank her. Not enemies, allies. Responding to a signal they'd been waiting years to hear. From the last voice of the first pilot. Drop a, if your heart dropped when the tower blinked. Comment below. What do you think the girl's real name is? The stealth drones flew in perfect formation beside Phoenix Vector. Silent, coordinated, and unmistakably since to her flight path. K-9 confirmed what Donnie already felt in her gut. Vector signature accepted. Echo lead consensus achieved. She wasn't just flying. She was commanding. Segment 31. Coded CO and Estelatale. Us from the skimmer's nav screen. A constellation of satellite codes shimmered across the map. What once appeared as junk relays abandoned, disabled, now blinked in synchronized pulses. Dawson sat in the co-pilot seat, eyes fixed. That's over a dozen cold satellites activating. Some of these went dark over 10 years ago. Danny tapped a terminal key. Routing data. Vector overlay priority signal. Echo Beta 002. They were never junk, she said. They were dormant nodes, waiting for a trigger phrase. Your voice. She didn't answer. Just pushed the throttle. Segment 32. The girl's MMOI. The child who still hadn't said her name sat up during low orbit ascent. Her eyes tracked the drone formation through the window. I remember this, she murmured. From where? Danny asked. From all of you. She turned. Each pilot left something behind. Their trajectory. Their pulse during launch. Their final transmission. I became the mirror. That's what you are? I'm the final directive. A recording of all who bore the signal. Dawson murmured. She's a living archive. Not living, the girl said. Not exactly. Segment 33. The compass and the Selos. The compass around Danny's neck began to spin. She unclipped it, placed it flat on the console. It jittered, then stopped, pointing due east. Not magnetic. It's responding to signal triangulation, Dawson said. Someone's activating uplinks in sequence. Then someone else is still alive. Or something. Below, the horizon shifted. Another deep canyon. Another facility beneath a digital veil. K-9 whispered. Consensus extension granted. Awaiting clearance. Echo Prime. That's never been used, Donnie whispered. The girl stirred. It has now. Segment 34. The ROVA Las Phoenix Vector descended. The landscape folded away to reveal another hidden hangar. Unlike the last, this one was active. Spotlights turned on. Not targeting dash welcoming. A squad of techs in matte gray uniforms stood outside, no weapons visible. Their commander stepped forward, Evelyn Reyes. Her mother. Alive. Again. How? Danny whispered. Evelyn looked older, changed, but real. What you found wasn't me. It was a fallback imprint. I sent it when the directive failed, but I didn't die. I rebuilt. She nodded toward the girl, and she came back. Segment 35. The MRG inside the hangar. They connected the girl to the Central Core Echo's origin server, long thought. Destroyed. The moment her neural nodes sensed, light flared across every panel. Old footage rolled. Echo lead training programs. Combat logs. Audio signatures. Then, a final line of code. Pilot. Echo lead status. Active inheritance. Suko Kide Dani. Turned to her mother. What happens now? Evelyn rested her hand on the girl's shoulder. Now we don't hide. Now we fly. The girl looked up at Danny. My name is Lyra. Drop a if you guessed her name before the reveal. Comment below. What should Lyra's call sign be? Above them, the sky began to shimmer, not from sunlight. From signal. The kind of coded pulse that only old satellites, forgotten bunkers, and hidden AIs could understand and fear. Segment 36. Skynet's Ezechiel. Lyra's vitals remained stable. Her eyes tracked the flickering data on the hangar's overhead display, with the same unblinking rhythm as the server banks around her. K9 pinged Danny's headset. Alert! Multi-source pings detected. Legacy rogue units, 7 and rising. What kind of units? Echo-era failsafe enforcement platforms. Off-record, non-compliant with Phoenix Vector. Autonomous hunter-killers, Dawson said. The kind they used to keep off the books. Evelyn stepped forward. They're coming to purge the directive one final time. They think the program has reawakened. Danny looked at Lyra. They're not wrong. Segment 37. The Warden CLAs, the Tau Terfas. First drone broke through upper atmosphere faster than most aircraft could track. Long-range scanners painted its shape in terrifying detail. Angular, low-ray signature hull, twin beam arrays, rotating logic core. Danny stared at the readout. Warden class, I thought these never left prototype. Evelyn corrected her. They weren't prototypes. They were containment guardians. Built in case someone ever turned the ecosystem against its masters. Dawson added, there were supposed to be 4. There are 9. 9 said flatly. The hangar fell silent. Segment 38. Lyra's OFR Lyra stood on her own. Monitors flickered as her neural core synced with the hangar's defense grid. I can call them off. How? Danny asked. They were programmed to obey the primary imprint. They were taught to protect Echo's origin, not what it became. I still have that key. Evelyn frowned. You'll need to broadcast it directly into their logic chains. That means going up. Then I'll go. Danny shook her head. You're not doing this alone, Lyra smiled. Then let's teach them how an Echo fights. Segment 39. Ascent into CAOS. They launched in tandem. Phoenix Vector in the lead. Lyra's unit designated Lyra 1 followed, fused with the backup I-Core that Evelyn had hidden years ago. The sky above was no longer silent. Static screams, EMP flickers. Code bombs laced with fail-safe logic. Warden drones formed a loose net. Above the stratosphere, weaving in and out of view. We'll have one shot, Danny said. Once Lyra gets the command close enough, K9 can boost the signal. And if it fails? Dawson asked. Evelyn's voice came through from the ground. Then we burn the sky clean. Segment 40. The KEY at 112,000 feet. Lyra's pod detached and began transmission. The Warden-class units all rotated in unison. Then one broke pattern, slowed, paused. Command pattern recognized. Echo origin confirmed. Awaiting directive refresh. Lyra's voice echoed across the signal net. Echo was never your cage. It was your compass. You don't obey, you protect. One by one, the drones froze. Lights dimmed. Power signatures dropped. Then they powered back up. Blue this time. They had accepted her. And for the first time in years, the sky went still. Drop a, if the idea of her voice commanding 9 machines gives you chills, comment below. What would you say if 9 rogue drones stopped to listen? The sky hung weightless. 9 Warden-class drones hovered like titans in sleep mode orbit, their hard-light engines casting silent halos. K-9 reported complete subsystem subversion. Not disabled. REPU, RPOSED. Lyra stood in the center of the cockpit, backlit by sunrise, her neural core no longer blinking, but glowing. She'd become more than a witness. She was now the key. Segment 41. The global PNG at 043 Zulu. Relays across 4 continents, activated simultaneously. Signals laced with remnants of echo code, burned and recompiled, flashed across defense satellites, retired command nodes, and obsolete mainframes that hadn't so much as beeped since the 2030s. Danny, read the signal report. Phoenix Vector authenticated. Global Overwatch initialization. Standby. They think we're relaunching Echo, Dawson said. We're not, Danny corrected. We're burying it and building what should have been. Segment 42. The new flight. Pete Chu from the command center at the finish vault. Evelyn and Dawson guided a reformation protocol stripping Echo's embedded threat code, purging legacy failsafe chains, and rewriting the AI consensus model. Lyra and Danny remained in the air, flanked by the 9. K9 adapted. Directive variant established. ECHO refract. New calcine. Vector sphere. Danny narrowed her eyes. Sphere? Lyra answered softly. Because this time, it's a network. No center, no master. All pilots, all guardians. Danny smiled. Then let's fly it. Segment 43. The first Ariku US'd just as the vector sphere initialized. A message came through the old US black site relay. Simple, garbled, urgent. Supply convoy hit. Unknown hostiles. Medical evac impossible. 0 air cover. Dawson tapped the map. That's Serbia. Civil corridor. No military access. Lyra turned to Danny. There. Calling anyone who'll answer. Donnie didn't hesitate. Phoenix Vector responding. En route. They angled west. 3 drones followed. Not weapons. Wings. Segment 44. The Daro P-Night over the Balkan Ridge. Convoy fires burned below. Black smoke over icy switchbacks. Civilians clustered between destroyed trucks. Sporadic gunfire echoed. Donnie and Lyra dropped in silent, using jamming signals to mask their entry. Below, red. Hostiles scrambled for cover. They weren't military, too disorganized. Mercs? Didn't matter. Danny activated glide dash mode. Her voice cut through the emergency band. You've got one chance. Drop your weapons and back off. This is Phoenix airspace now. A pause. Then firing. 2. Late. The drones blanketed the ridge in high-frequency MP. Guns failed. Vehicles stalled. Not a single life taken. A new way to fight. One built on precision, not destruction. Segment 45. The signal Spiridius. By morning, 23 other distress signals had been received. By evening, 8 were answered by Vector Sphere. Words spread across encrypted channels, then civilian ones. They came from nowhere. 3 shadows with wings, no flags. Just light. She said her name was Vector, and she saw us. Back at the vault, Evelyn sat beside the old Echo server, now decommissioned. She turned it off. They don't need Echo anymore, she whispered. They've got the voice. And the voice was flying. Drop a, If you believe her voice can change the battlefield, comment below. Where should Phoenix Vector fly next? The world had no name for it, yet no flag. No anthem, no chain of command. Only signals, only stories. And a name passed from voice to voice like a rumor. Carried on jet wash, Phoenix Vector, segment 46. The radio TOW, arrests across 3 continents. Old military towers lit up. Not as weapons, as beacons. Each one sensed to a revived frequency. Echo D. But now, it didn't stand for destruction. It stood for deliverance. In Kenya, an aid convoy under siege called the Signal. In the Philippines, a medical team surrounded in a mudslide-triggered landslide, whispered the frequency. In Bolivia, earthquake survivors tapped SOS into a downed telecom relay, then watched the sky flicker blue. K-9 logged each activation. Lyra absorbed the patterns. Donnie flew into the storms. Segment 47. The burning Zangdovan, Turkey. An illegal weapons shipment attempted to cross a closed zone. Danny intercepted mid-air. The smugglers tried jamming. Didn't work. One by one, their systems failed. A Warden-class drone appeared on the horizon. Too fast to dodge. It didn't shoot. It broadcast. Simple message: turn back. This corridor is protected. They dropped their cargo mid-flight. The footage went viral. Segment 48. A child's RCO in rural Latvia. A 10-year-old girl with a salvaged ham radio sent out a message. My brother has fever. We have no fuel, no medicine. She played her violin on the air so someone might hear. That night, Phoenix Vector's drone circled low. It dropped 1 medkit, 1 thermal blanket. And a note. You were heard. The girl recorded again. She flies for us. Segment 49. The hunters RTO warned Danny's piece was short. Echo's collapse had left fragments. In West Texas, a buried hangar came online. Inside, 1 last experimental unit. Designation: Obsidian-class. It was not friendly. Its code was hardened against vector sphere consensus. It hunted Lyra's signal across 3 intercept zones. It's not trying to destroy, Dawson warned. It's trying to overwrite. Danny set her jaw. Not this time. She rerouted Lyra's signal through a decoy drone. Flew it manual herself. Obsidian took the bait. They collided at 60,000 feet. M-flare. Sky screamed. Only 1 bird came down. Phoenix Vector, scarred but flying. Segment 50. The SDT me and back. At the vault, Donnie sat in silence. Lyra's signal pulsed gently in the background. A recording began to spread. Not a leak. A message: we are not at war, but we are no longer prey. If you traffic in fear, if you harm without honor, we will see you. We are the voice they buried. We are the sky they tried to own. We are Phoenix. Drop a, if that made your chest swell. Comment below. What is Phoenix Vector to you? The myth had teeth now, not just stories. Not just signals. Phoenix Vector was real, and the world knew it. But knowing didn't mean understanding. Segment 51. The INTRCPTOS 2 months into Vector Sphere operations. Allied nations began launching their own intercept units, hybrid aircraft, some manned, some remote. Not to help, to watch. To contain. In one instance, a UK-based interceptor shadowed Donnie's route across the North Atlantic. Never pinned. Never challenged. But always there. In the Andes, a Chinese surveillance drone tried to override a sphere-paired Warden. It failed. K-9 single quotes S-logs read. Unauthorized AI probe deflected. Echo override integrity. Stable. Danny didn't bother responding. Let them come. Segment 52. The Sion Vizevlin called. A meeting. Lyra, Danny, Dawson, K-9. In the hangar control room, bathed in low blue light. We built Echo to win wars, she said. But this is rewriting the airspace itself. Donnie leaned forward. We didn't rewrite it, we remembered it, we reclaimed it. Lyra placed her palm on the console. They will either understand or try to control. Dawson nodded. And what if they succeed? Kata-9 answered flatly. Then Sky returns to silence. Segment 53. The GMB-1 encrypted offer arrived, signed only with a flag, a neutral coalition. Emblem. It read, we propose shared custody of the Echo derivatives. Operational oversight. Technology mutualization. A seat at the table. Flight privileges conditional. Danny stared. You can't own what you buried. Evelyn deleted the message. They'll try again. Then we make sure they understand who holds the wings now. Segment 54. The SEOO. It began quietly. Lyra started broadcasting training modules. Emergency signal protocols. Pilot sync meditation. Remote first aid logic overlays. Not weapons. Wisdom. At first, no one responded. Then, 3 young pilots from Kenya. Then 6 from Brazil. Then 12 from Greece. By the end of the second month, 42 unaffiliated pilots had completed the Phoenix flight primer. They didn't call themselves soldiers. They called themselves Guardians. Segment 55. The storm that tested Tichin Typhoon Grace hit the South Pacific without warning. Infrastructure collapsed. Emergency bands flooded. No official relief unit arrived in time. Phoenix did. Danny flew water drops between collapsing platforms. Lyra guided drones to rebuild downed relay towers. New pilots airlifted stranded locals to high ground. No command structure. No orders. Only consensus. Only flight. Afterward, one child asked, "Where did you all come from?" Danny replied, "We came from silence, but we brought the sky back with us." Drop it if that line hit you hard. Comment below. Should Phoenix stay rogue or go public? They had no flag, but they had formation, and formation meant family. Segment 56. The SUMM. 3 months after Typhoon Grace, an international emergency summit was called in Zurich. Phoenix Vector was on the agenda. Unofficially. Rumors buzzed in diplomatic channels, stories of drones that refused to fire, of pilots that healed instead of fought. Donnie flew in under radar, not to speak. To see. From the roof of an adjacent hotel, she watched world leaders shuffle through security cordons. Below them, protesters held signs, "Let her fly. Echo is not the enemy." Someone held up a single white glove. Danny's old mark. She smiled. Segment 57. The HackMide Summit. The global air defense grid lit up. A simultaneous breach across 8 sectors. Encrypted AI code. Echo derivative, but twisted. Hostile. Someone had cloned the old failsafe and activated it. K-9 sounded the alert. Defense towers compromised. Autonomous override in effect. Lyra paled. They're going to blame us. No, Donnie said. They're going to need us. Segment 58. The COU into Arzauda Ufram pulled the last unburned copy of the vast unburned copy of the original Echo root tree. It was incomplete, corrupted, but alive. Lyra connected to it through her neural relay. I can't override all of it, she warned. Danny nodded. Just enough to prove we're not the source. Then we cut the signal. Lyra's eyes fluttered, screens lit. One by one, defense towers flickered. Then dimmed. Then went blue. Segment 59. The open FREQ we see wide NA open. COMM, pseudo encryption. No filters. This is Phoenix Vector. We are not the breach. We are the firewall. If you stand down, we will fly with you. If you hunt us, we will still fly. Silence, then a reply from the summits. Control tower. We hear you. Show us how to fly. Segment 60. The Aking DOVR 1 week later. The first official Phoenix Guardian unit launched. Backed by no single nation. Staffed by former Echo critics. Refugee pilots, medics, scouts. Danny led the first formation. Lyra Broadcast the code for all who wish to sync. Evelyn powered down the vault. No more secrets. Above them, the sky filled with dots. Old drones reborn, new wings forged. 1,000 voices but only one origin. Voice once buried in a black box. Now flying. Forever. Droppa. If you felt that liftoff. Comment below. What call sign would you choose if you joined Phoenix? They called her a myth, but now, her name was logged in air traffic control databases across 5 continents, and Phoenix Vector was no longer a whisper. It was a protocol. Segment 61. The legacy ARSTRIPes from Utah to Algeria, from coastal India to the Falklands. Abandoned airstrips were restored not for war, but for watches. Each strip bore a single symbol. Inside, volunteers ran low-fly maintenance hubs. No walls, no barriers. Any aircraft, any drone, any human who spoke the oath could land. No oaths of allegiance. Just one line. When the sky calls, answer. And they did. Segment 62. The Moth Pialoshi arrived during the Perseids. A small jet, boxy, old. She wore no badge. Carried no gear. Her only identifier was a faded sticker on her helmet. Vector. 93. She was 70. Hadn't flown in 2 decades. When asked why she returned, she simply said, "I remembered her voice. From the box, from the rescue. And I figured if she could still fly, so could I." They cleared her instantly. She launched next morning, and was never late to a drop again. Segment 63. Lyra's first SOLO escort. No net. Just Lyra. In a modified K-class with voice link only, her mission, deliver solar relay kits to a science station, cut off by volcanic ash in Kamchatka. She left at dusk, returned at dawn. No injuries. No errors. Only a voice recording, filed into the system without comment. I get why she stayed quiet for so long. It's louder up here than anyone understands. Segment 64. The Ariu and Io and Donnie returned to Compound Echelon, not as a fugitive. As a guest. Colonel Hyde met her at the gate. He was retired now, slower. Softer. He held out a datapad. On it, an old report. The one that listed her as unfit for flight duty. He tapped delete. "We were wrong." Danny nodded. "You were late." He smiled. They walked together to the hangar. The Raven 3 was still there, still gleaming. Segment 65. The Toppy. 6 months later, a new file arrived on Danny's personal channel, encrypted. No origin. It contained one short audio clip, a voice, hers. "Tower, this is Echo Lead. I have eyes on the crash vector. Diverting to intercept." The original black box file. Uncut. Unaltered. At the end, one sentence had been scrubbed from public record. She heard it now. "If I don't make it, tell them the sky's still theirs. They just forgot how to fly." Danny closed her eyes, whispered, "They remember now." Droppa, if you heard her voice too. Comment below. What line from Echo Lead stuck with you the most? The last thing they found wasn't a drone, wasn't a jet. It was a signal, one that had no source. Just a whisper repeating, over and over, "Still with you, keep flying." Segment 66. The black wall in the high atmosphere above southern Australia. A new phenomenon emerged, coded solar interference, thousands of shortwave pulses, repeating a message not in language but in pattern. The Phoenix Guardian. Satellites identified it first, then Lyra. Then K-9. They all agreed. It wasn't random. It was a countdown. Segment 67. The Silnvia and the final day of the month. 21 Phoenix pilots across the globe reported the same anomaly. A voice. Donnie heard it too. Not hers, not Lyra's, not Evelyn's, but familiar. Final vector confirmed. Consensus complete. Initiating merge. K-9 spun a query. Merge of what? No answer. Then light. Not in the sky. In the system. Across every node. Segment 68. The sky bellowed. The satellites didn't fail. They unfolded. Panels extended. Lenses realigned. 1,000 tiny beacons, pulsing in unison. The old Ecotech had finally done what it was built for. Not surveillance. Not strikes. Connection. Danny stood atop an observation platform as the sky filled with a quiet blue glow, like stars sinking, each one responding to a voice once thought buried. Her voice. Segment 69. The Amuseum. They built it in the Greenland Vault. A hangar-turned-memorial. Inside, the first Raven 3, the wreckage of the Obsidian, the old Echo Core, and a terminal. Visitors could press a button. They'd hear the original black box recording. Not all of it, just the last line. They just forgot how to fly. Above the terminal, etched in steel, Phoenix Vector was never a place. It was a person. Segment 70. The Horizon years passed. The protocol remained open. Sometimes new voices joined. Sometimes old ones returned. Morning, Danny stood beside Lyra atop a ridge in Mongolia, watching a convoy of silent low-flight guardians deliver drought kits. No orders. No media. Just wings. Lyra turned to her. Do you ever think about the silence before the first time? Danny nodded. Every day. Lyra smiled. Me too. They stood together in the wind. Then a call sign rang out across the global net. Echo lead. Clearance confirmed. You are go for launch. Danny raised her eyes to the morning. Still with you. Keep flying. And she did. Forever. Drop a if you felt the sky open by the end. Comment below. Where should the next Phoenix story begin? 2 more great stories are next. Don't miss them. Subscribe and turn on notifications.